Dear Lebanon, I'm still a recovering ambassador. You gave me cedars, sunrises, biblos, sunsets. And when I left, I told you that you'd given me the adventure of my life and many reasons to fear for my life. You gave me extraordinary friends. You took some of them away. I loved your hopeless causes, your hopeful hearts. I shared your tearful depths and your breathless heights. But sadly for me, unlike your politicians, I wasn't able to extend my own term. I hope they're watching. Now, I could talk to you about Lebanon cliches. We could all talk about Lebanon cliches. Snow and sea, bullets and Botox, dictators and divas, warlords and wasta, militias and mafia, guns, greed and God, human rights and human rights. And yet for me, as time passes, I don't think of Lebanon as a list of cliches anymore. I don't see Lebanon anymore through rose-tinted or maybe red wine-tinted spectacles anymore. But nor do I see Lebanon as doomed to fail. A wise friend told me, never think that you can understand Lebanon. And if you think you've understood Lebanon, you haven't understood the question. So I go back, if I was trying to talk to myself in 2011 when I came to your country, I'd say, never think you can fix Lebanon. Never think that you can leave it unscathed. Never think that you can leave. And never think that it will really leave you. Now, I have a confession. I was wrong about many, many things. I was wrong about your politicians. I was very critical of them, but not enough. I underestimated their capacity. There aren't many politicians here tonight. I underestimated their capacity to cling to a system that benefits no one but them. They talk of unity, and yet they say things all the time like Lebanon would be wonderful if it wasn't for the Lebanese. Or it will always be like this. This is Lebanon. Yeah. It infuriates me, and it's destructive to the Lebanese citizens that they're there. So let's get back to a politics of hope in Lebanon. Now, I was also wrong about social media. I was too idealistic about its potential to sweep aside these walls of oppression and corruption in your country. And yes, the smartphone has been this extraordinary tool in the hands of young people demanding change. But too often, it was weaponized by forces of autocracy and oppression, polarization. And for the rest of us, it's too often distracted us. It's kept us away from the change that we need to see. So maybe we can get back to a sense that we can use the technology and not be used by the technology. And I was wrong too about the regional crises on your borders, on Syria and on Palestine-Israel. I overestimated our patience, the international community's patience and compassion. And I underestimated the lengths to which violent men would go. The driving mission of my business of diplomacy and Rami's business of diplomacy is to find ways to help people not kill each other. Yet we've failed to prevent the deaths of so many innocent civilians. And we're failing now to prevent those deaths. Too often we fail to find the right words or the right actions. So let me say, I'm going to send this video to my colleagues in Lebanon later, and to my ministers and Prime Minister. After the horrors of the last month in Israel and Gaza, let me say unequivocally tonight, all violence against all civilians must stop. And yes, we respect international law, including the release of the hostages. We must back humanitarian access, full humanitarian access, civilian protection. We should get aid in to those children under the bombs. And we must back Israelis and Palestinians both to live in security, justice, opportunity in lands of their own. For too long, we've used a two-state solution as an otherwise of inaction, not a mandate to act. And this is hard. Diplomacy alone can't solve these problems. They're too important to leave to diplomats. But I was at an event with George and Alexandra saying Alex is here tonight in Byblos, and I met two people who've been involved in the Northern Ireland conflict. And the woman was speaking next, and I said to her, "What are you here?" She said, "I'm here to talk about reconciliation, rebuilding confidence. My father was killed in a terrorist attack." And I said to the man next to her, who I thought was her brother or her friend, "And why are you here, sir?" And he said, "I was the bomber who killed her parents." So let's get back to a place of courage. The courage to see the humanity of the person on the other side of the fence. Now, I was also wrong about the pace of change in Lebanon. Too often, I and the other ambassadors in Beirut, we prioritized stability over reform. I used to talk of Beirutopia. A decade ago, I said at our National Day that I was buying shares in Lebanon 2020. That bet proved pretty optimistic. Lebanon 2020 was not in good shape. Patrick has explained some of those factors: the poor, the financial system, the state failure. These have been tough times for all of us who are idealistic about Lebanon. So I was right, I was wrong on all that. But I was right on one thing. The extraordinary capacity of the Lebanese people to keep on going. Khalid Gibran said, "You have your Lebanon and I have mine." When I look back, I think of your writers, your musicians, your thinkers, your business people who have conquered the world again and again. Your history gives you that resilience, that free spirit that others in the region would die for and are dying for. You're the world's greatest networkers, living in the age of networks. And when the Middle East was in flames, its people caught between tyrants and terrorists. The Lebanon I remember sent its soldiers to protect the borders, confronted daily frustrations to build businesses, educate its children, and showed amazing, amazing generosity to outsiders, whether we were ambassadors or refugees. And since I've left, I've watched Lebanon again and again pick itself up and carry on. And that's the Lebanon that I think deserves to be heard. It demands to be supported. And again, my message to the governments of the West is that we have to back Lebanon to stay out of this conflict. We have to support Lebanon's territorial integrity and independence. That Lebanon is not asking for help. It's asking for oxygen. And it's not arguing over the past, but over the future. It's not the graveyard of idealism, but the engine room of coexistence. It's not debating which countries hold it back. It's not blaming the world, but embracing it. And that Lebanon is here in this room tonight. So those who write off Lebanon are wrong. I'd say to them, never underestimate the most resilient people on the planet. A people that has for millennia beaten the odds. So if the internet doesn't work, build a new internet. If the power supply doesn't work, let's build a new power supply. If the economy is mired in corruption, let's build a new economy. If the politics don't work, let's build a new politics. And if Lebanon doesn't work, let's build a new Lebanon. So, I'm not giving up, and you're not giving up. It remains a privilege to share this struggle with you. And I still believe you can and you will defy the history, the geography, even the politics, and you'll build the country that you deserve. This will be hard, but you can make it. If you have that idea of a Lebanon to believe in. if you can be stronger than the forces pulling you apart, and if you can fight for the idea of Lebanon, not over the idea of Lebanon. And this fight is not yours alone, because if we can win that fight for coexistence in Lebanon, we can win it elsewhere. If we can promote tolerance and diversity in Lebanon, we can promote tolerance and diversity in societies from London to Washington to the rest of the world. That's the dividing line. The dividing line is not between East and West and North and South, but between those who believe in coexistence and those who don't. So I don't regret the work that we did to build up the army, to back your entrepreneurs, to get behind your education, which is upstream diplomacy, as Hadley was saying, to build the alliances that keep Lebanon safe from the Syria conflict, and now to build those alliances that keep Lebanon safe from the Israel-Gaza conflict. Ambassadors, we talk a lot about protocol. We talk a lot about bilateral relations and treaties. But all I ever wanted to do in Lebanon, and all I want to do tonight, is to hold up the mirror and show you how beautiful you really are. Listen. When I left Beirut, I said that there were 8 stages of life as an ambassador: seduction, frustration, exhilaration, exhaustion, disaffection, infatuation, addiction, and then resignation. I knew them all, often simultaneously. But 8 years on, older, probably not much wiser, I'm going to add a 9th word to that list, and that's love. And what I feel for Lebanon is not a starry-eyed, dazzled life for somewhere flawless. It's an enduring love for somewhere flawed. A place called Lebanon. It's not love for a state, but for a people. The people of Lebanon. It's not love for an ideology, but for an idea. The idea of Lebanon. And it's not a nostalgic love for what's been, for the past, but a hopeful love for what can be. One Lebanon. So whatever they say out there, whatever they do, I'm still buying shares in Lebanon 2030.
That is good.
And 2040, and 2050, and beyond. I'm not resigning as an ambassador for Lebanon. This is Lebanon in the room tonight. So thank you for the privilege of being here with you and experiencing a piece of Lebanon tonight. Shine on, you crazy diamonds. Okay. Let back to the fan. Aish the man. Thank you.